Hi, Dave Spalding from Handgun Combatives. Hey gang, let's face it, we're all gear queers. Now, I'm not trying to disparage anyone's sexual orientation. Obviously the words rhyme, and also most of us can't get enough gear. So the words probably are justified in this particular case. It's really important these days to be prepared. Why do we train? Training's preparation. In this day of fast response situations, active killers, what I call slaughter in progress, many of us who take our personal security seriously are trying to have, grab and go bags ready that we can respond to emergency situations. I'm no different, but by the same token, I don't want to have 14 different bags in my truck. I want to try to keep my gear as straightforward and simple as possible. So I started thinking about how can I have a grab and go bag for maybe the active shooter response and also make it work for just my regular range practice sessions, and I think I've got a pretty good idea. Maybe you can use some of the ideas. The bag itself is from 511. It's the Viking Tactics bag designed by Kyle Lamb. All of you know Kyle, former Delta operator, really squared away trainer, somebody I really respect. So when he puts his mark on a product, I take a good look at it. The first thing I want in such a bag is I want the ability to put it on. Whether I put it on the front or I put it on the back, a 2-point sling, so to speak, works out real well for me. I also like the various pockets that Kyle put into this. Up here, the first one, this is my cleaning stuff, my tools, sight adjustments. I shoot a Glock or a Ruger SR9 a lot, so I like having a kind of a punch. But some stuff that can just get it clean pretty quick. Then let's get to the meat and potatoes. On the back side, I've got this large pouch. That's where I keep my medical. I've got in here several tourniquets. I've got some safety shears, some combat gauze, the kind of things that can plug holes or fill cuts, the kind of thing that blood's going to be leaking all over the ground. Coflex tape, and can handle those kind of problems. I also have just some things in there like simple band-aids, because oftentimes on the range, medical care is not necessarily traumatic. Sometimes it's pretty simple, so I have those things. This pocket right here, perfect for my ear pro, my electronic timer. I do like to use an electronic timer in my training because it's a way to ensure that you're getting better. We go to the central pocket. In here, I've got holsters, I got magazine pouches, I've got other related gear like hand wipes, I've got some small tools, a multi-tool, some things like that in here. As you can see, trying to have those things that would not only, oh yes, an extra belt, because you never know, those things that would come in handy. Well, why are you worrying about having eye protection? You know what? In an active shooter situation or something that jumps out, if I can protect my eyes, by golly, I'm going to do it, because it's really tough to engage in a gunfight when you're blind. So protect your eyes. Good idea to have that. So move over to here. I've got the classic gun pocket where I can keep my Glock 19. That's loaded, or excuse me, unloaded. That would be loaded in the bag if I wasn't doing this demonstration. Then we go over to this outside pocket, and I've got magazines that are already loaded up. Now they're loaded up with training ammunition, so when I get to the range, I'm ready to train. Dave, you don't have the latest thermonuclear Thunder hollow point. You're going to be depending on ball ammunition. If I start getting into a third and fourth magazine in some kind of a conflict, I'm not going to be worrying too much about what type of ammunition I got in it. I've got good Federal HST ammo in the gun. If I start getting to third, fourth magazine, ball ammunition will work just fine. I've got a knife. I've got several flashlights. I've got a whistle. Why a whistle? Well, you know what? I want to be able to call attention to things. A whistle is probably a whole lot better than me trying to scream. I've got a tactical pen. This one happens to be a Hinderer. There's any number of manufacturers out there. And then I've got some parts for my Glock, replacement parts like springs and stuff like that. What I think this allows me to do is to not only be ready to go to the range, it also allows me to respond to situations that may come my way. Now, I hope I never have to face an active shooter situation, but thinking about it, training for it, being able to respond is something that's important to me. I was a law enforcement officer for 37 years. The idea of just standing back and watching people be slaughtered or injured, that is so foreign to me that I can't put it into words. So I try to be ready as best I can. This bag right here allows me to truly grab and go. I think it's probably a good idea for you to have some sort of response. If you want a separate range bag and a separate grab and go bag, that's up to you. But what I've hoped I've done here is give you an idea of maybe how you can combine the two, because when you do that, it makes it simpler. And you know what? Simple is good. Thanks for checking in.